You know that feeling, right? You get this huge burst of motivation, you're ready to change your whole life, and then a few days later, it's just gone. Poof. So, why does that happen? And what's the real secret to making progress that actually sticks? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, the huge difference between fleeting motivation and lasting discipline.
It is such a frustrating cycle, isn't it? You watch something inspiring, you feel that fire inside, you're ready to conquer the world, but then a few days pass and you're right back at square one. It can make you feel completely stuck. So what's really going on here? Why is motivation so unreliable?
To figure this out, let's follow the story of a guy named Ethan. Now, Ethan is probably a lot like you and me. He's got these big, amazing dreams. He wants to accomplish great things, but for some reason, no matter how hard he tries, he just feels trapped, spinning his wheels and not getting anywhere. And this cycle, I bet it sounds familiar. It starts when he watches some inspiring videos. He gets all pumped up and makes this huge promise to himself. Like, that's it. Tomorrow, I'm gonna study for 6 hours straight. And just thinking about it feels incredible. But that feeling doesn't last. In just a few days, the old, comfortable habits sneak back in, and he ends up right where he started, feeling even more frustrated than before. So, feeling pretty defeated, Ethan looks over at his friend, Ben. And Ben, well, Ben just seems to be on another level. He's so consistent. He's always making this slow, steady progress, day in and day out. Ethan just doesn't get it. So finally, he goes to Ben and asks him, "What is your secret?" And Ben's answer is so simple, but it completely changes Ethan's perspective. Ben says he doesn't chase that feeling of motivation. Instead, he builds his success on something way more powerful, something much more reliable: discipline. And this, right here, is the big idea we're gonna unpack. Okay, so let's break this down because it's absolutely crucial. Motivation, you see, it's like a flash of lightning. Super bright, super intense, but then it's gone in a second. It's totally dependent on your feelings and it demands to see results like right now. Discipline, though, that's different. It's a steady fire. It's not about waiting for the right mood to strike. It's about creating a routine and then patiently building a solid foundation, brick by brick, day after day. To help Ethan really get it, Ben decides to introduce him to someone who lives and breathes this principle every single day, a wise old fisherman. And this is where the lesson gets really deep. So they go down to the river, and there's this old fisherman. For him, this isn't just a hobby, it's his entire life. Every single morning, long before the sun even thinks about rising, he's there. It doesn't matter if it's freezing cold, pouring rain, or a perfect sunny day. His routine never, ever changes. And this gets right to the heart of what discipline really is. See, the fisherman's commitment has nothing to do with the outcome of any given day. Some days he has a great haul. Some days it's pretty bad. And yeah, some days he goes home with absolutely nothing. But the result doesn't matter. The act of showing up is what's non-negotiable. And here's the kicker. The fisherman explains that his actions aren't tied to his feelings. They're tied to his responsibilities. He says he doesn't wait until he feels like fishing. He just shows up. Why? Because his discipline is what feeds his family. Waiting for motivation? Well, that would just leave them hungry. And then, to really drive the point home, the fisherman shares this incredible story with Ethan, a story that perfectly captures the long-term, almost invisible power of discipline. He calls it the bamboo tree principle. The story goes like this. A farmer plants a tiny bamboo seed. And every single day, without fail, he tends to that seed. He waters it, makes sure it gets just the right amount of sunlight, and he protects it. It's this quiet, daily act of pure faith and consistency. For an entire year, nothing happens. Not a single sprout breaks through the ground. His neighbors probably think he's crazy, telling him he's wasting his time. The second year goes by, still nothing. Then a third year and a fourth. Can you imagine that? 4 straight years of daily effort with 0 visible results. The doubt must have been overwhelming. But that farmer, he just kept going. He kept watering, kept caring, kept showing up day after day. And then in the 5th year, after all that waiting, all that unseen work, something truly incredible happened. In just 6 weeks,
the bamboo tree absolutely exploded from the ground, soaring up to 90 feet tall. I mean, that's like an 8 or 9-story building. It's this mind-blowing transformation after years and years of what looked like total failure.
So you have to ask, right? How on earth is that even possible? Was it just some sudden miracle that happened in the 5th year? Or was something else going on the whole time? And here is the profound lesson. For those first 4 years, the bamboo wasn't just sitting there doing nothing. It was furiously busy, but it was busy underground. It was building this massive, complex root system, a foundation strong enough to support the explosive growth that was coming. Without all that unseen work, that rapid growth would have been totally impossible. And hearing this story, boom, the light bulb finally goes on for Ethan. He realizes he's been desperately looking for the sprout, for the visible results, without ever taking the time to build his roots. He finally gets it. He's been chasing the quick wins, that instant gratification, without putting in the slow, boring, foundational work. So right then and there, he makes a fundamental shift. He stops waiting to feel inspired and starts, simply, building a routine. And here's what that looks like in real life. He completely disconnects his actions from his feelings. He studies, not because he's in the mood, but because it's on his schedule. He exercises, not because he has energy, but because it's part of the routine. He's no longer a slave to how he feels in the moment, he's the master of his actions. So how can we do this in our own lives? Well, it really boils down to these 3 steps. First, you have to create a daily, non-negotiable routine. Second, and this is the hardest part, you have to act on that routine whether you feel like it or not. And third, you have to trust the process. Trust that even when you can't see any results on the surface, you are building your roots.
You know, this really redefines what true success is. It's not about that one massive heroic effort. It's about the compound effect of doing the small, sometimes boring things right, consistently, day in and day out. That is where real, lasting achievement comes from. And in the end, Ethan is the one who becomes the source of wisdom. Because he's lived it, he understands the truth. Motivation is a wonderful visitor, but it will always leave. Discipline is the reliable partner that stays with you for the entire journey. So let's stop waiting for that flash of lightning. Let's start building our own steady fire. Don't worry so much about the massive growth you can't see yet. Instead, focus on the foundation. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What small, consistent action will you take to start growing your roots today?